Well, welcome back to the Ropes Family Podcast. I think we're on episode 71. Which if I told you, Courtney, a year and a half ago that we would have 71 podcast episodes, what would you think about that?
After the first one, I was pretty sure we were done. So it was bad. So I'd have been shocked.
After the first couple, but there's a funny phenomenon happening on our podcast stats, is that there is somebody somewhere listening to the second episode multiple times a day.
Why?
It has over 300 plays.
What was that one?
What is worship? And so it has over 300 plays, which, okay, I know that doesn't sound like a lot carrying to a podcast, but
it is if you're us.
It is a lot if you're us. That's a lot of listens. So share with your friends so we could make that a normal thing. But yeah, so it's so strange. It gets 10 a day, 5 to 10 a day. It's so
That's
weird.
interesting.
At least one. It gets one.
And that wasn't a good podcast.
I actually really like.
It was a good topic.
The reason I bring that up too is that episode specifically, it kind of goes in hand with what we're going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. So the last couple of weeks we've talked about, the two greats, the Great Commission and the Great Commandment. And what was the one we talked about before that? I can't remember what it was. Peru, and then we had the two mission trip, or the two missions episodes, and then the two greats, and then faith without works. Mm-hmm. So with those, all of those kind of encompass following Jesus. But I think that I wanted to focus a little bit more on what does following Jesus really look like in just your everyday life. Mm-hmm. So I we've had the, faith without works, we do the good works to represent Christ, not because it earns us merit, but because we have the Spirit living inside us to do those things, compels us to do those things. And then the Great Commission and Great Commandment is a way that we do those works, and we love people and we love God by doing those good deeds. But following Jesus, I think, is it's being a disciple and following Jesus is different, or it encapsulates the whole picture of what we are called to do. Mm-hmm. And what did you write for following Jesus when you thought about following Jesus? What did you
This was kind of my own definition that
I like it.
When someone sees you in public and they wonder what makes you different, or like
she different.
Yeah. That's true, but that's not what we're talking about. Why is he or she so full of joy, or why is he or she so kind?
Yeah.
It shocks people sometimes.
I think it does too. I had this kind of thing about me when I was in high school. My friends would always, they realized what I was. I would be called the Jesus kid, or like the Christian kid, because I would hang out with the wildest kids, but I wouldn't participate in everything they did. Mm-hmm. I would participate in some of the jokes or some of the funny things they did, but I wasn't perfect either. But the way they spoke, the way they, the habits they formed with certain substances or things like that, I just kind of stayed away from that. And I'm not saying that I had the willpower to do it. I'm saying that I had God on my side, saying, hey, I'm not even going to give you the want or the desire to do those things. And I'm going to give you the power to say no. And I'm going to give you a good enough attitude to where they don't even offer it to you, because they know that you're different. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's kind of a characteristic of following Jesus, is people know that you make decisions with Christ in mind. I think that, when somebody sees you in public, or even when somebody sees you at home, mm-hmm. or, our kids see us all the time in our best times and our worst times. And I think our kids get a good enough or a different picture of what it looks like to follow Jesus in the home, because they don't just see like the times when we're being good, right? They see the times where we need the grace of God.
Yeah.
They see the times when we need God to comfort us and to give us rest, you know. And I think that it's okay as a parent to rely on Jesus and to let our kids know that we need Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What's another way that we kind of show in the public, or how that we follow what following Jesus looks like? What's another way that looks like?
Apparently, I tell a lot of stories about me going to the grocery store. That's all I do, guys. That's all I do. But yesterday I was at Walmart and I was walking in. There was an older lady in a white car, and she was like sitting in her car. She was trying to get her basket away from her car, but she couldn't do both. I don't really know what was going on, but she was trying to get her basket to back up. Well, you know, the wheels never work. So it was like twisting. And so I walked over there. I was like, hey, can I take this for you? And she just looked at me and she was her face didn't look nice. And she was like, now you want me to pay you for this? No. I mean, my hat says "Pray Big" on it in huge letters, and I was like, "No, I'm just going inside, and I thought I'd help you and take it in." And she was like, "Oh, well." By this time, she's gotten out of the car, and she like grabs my arm and like squeezes it, and she goes, "There really are nice people left in the world." And she had this huge smile on her face, and I was like, "This lady has had something done to her that isn't nice," because that's all it took for her to completely change her whole face and attitude and everything.
Yeah. It's just a kind word.
I was just offering to take it for her. It wasn't.
And it's so crazy how like little random acts of kindness can like make your whole day or year. Or you know, just things like that can change somebody's like perspective on people. Mm-hmm. You know, that lady's probably been made fun of or like poked fun at or like probably been yelled at by people for leaving her basket next to her car, or hey, I'll take this for you if you give me $5 or whatever, you know, or yada, yada, yada. There's probably all kinds of things. But I think following, you know, being Jesus to the world is definitely a way of showing that that's what Jesus looks like. But I think you have the verse, I'll let you share in a second, but I think that following Jesus is we don't conform to the world. And that's the passage, I'll let you read that verse but in a second. But we are countercultural. Jesus was different. Mm-hmm. And being a Christian, Christian, I read in a commentary, means little Christ. Mm-hmm. So we're basically little Christs running around. We're little Jesuses running around. So
it should be different.
Should be different. We should act like Christ in all things. Mm-hmm. And I'll go ahead and read that verse, and I'll come up with an example.
Okay, Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will."
So Donovan and I were in a meeting with one of the teenagers and their parents, talking about getting baptized. And Donovan shared this point, and he said, you know, following Jesus isn't more of just like going through the motions and getting baptized. Mm-hmm. When you get baptized, when you follow Jesus, Jesus takes precedent over everything. You know, it changes the way you act on the football field, changes the way you speak, changes the way you think. And it's not through our own power that we do it. You know, it's through Christ giving us that power. But following Jesus changes the way we are to operate. You know, we can't conform to the patterns of this world. Mm-hmm. And that's hard, not to conform to the patterns of this world. And we are recording this episode on Halloween, and we're going to release it on Halloween. So if you are listening to this on Halloween, it's 10:32 when we're recording this episode, what I'm talking right now. But part of, do not conform to this world, we are taking our kids trick-or-treating, right? And that's a worldly thing, right? And it's tough because you don't want to be like, oh, we can't take our kids trick-or-treating because it's... So it's a rough battle to figure. I don't have the right answers for that either yet.
Yeah, I thought we weren't going there. I thought that was actually what we talked about not doing.
It's both. I really enjoy trunk or treat. Trunk or treat was great. You know, it's a way that we can build community, let people know what we got going on here. You know, things like that. And trick or treating, I guess if you you've got to do it a certain way. I don't even like to say Happy Halloween. My kids, Easton said, "Daddy, it's Halloween. We're excited. We're Halloween," and I don't even like calling it Halloween. I'm kind of getting old, is what I've been told.
Yes.
Getting old and crotchety.
Yes.
But I think, it's one of those things like, what is the purpose behind it? And if we just need to put the right purpose behind it, like look for opportunities to be different in Halloween. Look for opportunities to show people Christ during this holiday or this, whatever. I don't even like calling it a holiday. During this time we go trick-or-treating.
This costume day.
Yeah, this costume day.
Happy costume day to you.
I may have a different opinion in 3 weeks from now, or I may not even think about it until next Halloween and be like, yeah, I don't even...
Still hate it.
I don't hate it. I know it's fun. There's lots of fun things. But, the one thing that our family's been praying is, God, can we use this differently? Use this in this time to bring glory to you, in whatever ways that may look like. And, we're going to go trick-or-treating, and maybe we can find a way to share Christ's light during this time, to not conform to the world, to live in the world, but not of it, make everything we do about Christ. And I think that's part of following Jesus.
Did you read the verse of the day today?
Is that
from the Bible app?
Is it
Galatians 2:20?
Yeah.
And it says, I've been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me.
Yeah.
The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Crucified with Christ. We are, once we follow Jesus, it's no longer I who live, but Christ in me. We are new creations. And I think that, I don't know if there's, and this may be just me, my minister's heart complaining, but I don't know if I don't live like that all the time. I don't know if we take that to heart. It's no longer I who live. Following Christ is no longer it's not about me. Mm-hmm. It's not about what I want. The grace of God will allow us to use the things we are good at. Will give us things to steward. But those are not about us. And it's I don't know why this is coming up in my brain, but I can solve a Rubik's Cube, right? And how can I use a Rubik's Cube to minister or to share Christ's love before? And we've used it as a sermon illustration once, Maybe that's the only reason why I can solve a Rubik's Cube. But there's all things I play guitar, I lead worship. I give those gifts and talents to the Lord, but I also love playing guitar. I also love that thing, and I can make that thing about me very easily. I can. I've thought of ways of sharing what I can do on social media to make me look really cool. I think I've shared this with you, and I shared it with Allison, is creating doing a thing on Instagram, calling it the Dad Rock Riff of the Day, just to show all my buddies that I can still play guitar.
But you're still cool.
Yeah, I'm still cool, but it's not, how can, and those are just selfish desires that I could do, or those things that I can do to make myself look good, but how can I need to look at things differently through the lens of Christ, not through what makes me look good, Mm-hmm. A lot of times I catch myself doing and saying and thinking things to either make myself look good or to give myself brownie points with somebody. Mm-hmm. And I need to, and I'm confessing this, I need to renew my mind and make it about Christ and not about me.
Sometimes I say, I just earned a jewel in my crown in heaven.
Yeah.
Because I did something nice. And my mom looked at me and she was like, I don't think it counts if you say those words out loud. I was like, oh, I think it does, actually.
Yeah, it's all for Christ's glory. It's not for us. Mm-hmm. and it's hard. It's hard. It's harder than it sounds, and I guess it's easy to say it. Yeah, I do everything I do for Christ. But
you know, do you actually?
But do I actually?
Because I don't always.
No, and I don't always. And you know, this podcast is a perfect example for that. You know, I love this podcast. I don't love it just so I can hear myself talk because I don't listen to it, but I love this.
Sometimes I listen to it.
I love it. It's so fun. You know, it's so cool, but it bums me out sometimes when I look at it and we get 1 or 2 plays a day. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm like, nobody cares about what I have to say. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares about me. But I've got to realize it's not about me. It's not about the things that I say on here.
But how many times have we been told, or I've been told, like, that is exactly what I needed to hear this morning?
Yeah.
By random people that I'm like, oh, you listen? Okay. Mm-hmm. But they heard it on the way to work or whatever. And they're like, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, even if we only had 1 listen that day, mm-hmm. God used our podcast to help someone else.
Yeah. And we do pray that before every episode. Mm-hmm. God, please put this podcast in the ears of somebody that wants to hear it, that needs to hear it. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about, you know. And maybe that, like you said, that one person that listened that day needed what God wanted them to hear, you know, mm-hmm. and God uses this to, but, you know, I can really easily make this about me. Mm-hmm. And I struggle with it. And I think that's with every person that's a little bit artistic. Yeah, I think that, you know, it makes it, because it's just one of those things, like, we put these things out for people to consume. And so we care about it, and it points people, I wanted to point people to Christ. I wanted to give people good advice to minister to their kids. And I want good conversations to come out of it. Mm-hmm. But I also, part of me wants it. I like to say that I have a podcast and I'm really cool. I'm a cool podcast guy.
Actually, when I checked the girls out earlier, I was like, but I have to go do the podcast first. And they're like, you have a podcast? One of the teachers was standing there. She said, you have a podcast? I was like, oh, yeah, we have a church podcast. So I have to go do that. And then we can go do everything else. And she was like, oh, I didn't know you had a podcast. And I was like, I felt kind of cool there for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of, yeah, it's, you know, it's funny because every 30-year-old man has a podcast, but, you know, but not really, I guess.
I'm almost a 40-year-old woman, so it's fine.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, whatever.
It's what it is.
You're not that close to 40.
Whatever.
We don't have to get into
I
that.
quit.
But what else do we got on this? I'm sorry about that. I got real preachy and confessy. I'm sorry, but that's truly how I feel about it.
I was sitting on TikTok last night. Yes, I have a TikTok. Yes, it's embarrassing. I was sitting there watching TikTok last night before I dove into all this, and I was laughing at videos, and I thought one was hilarious, and I should have been. And then like 10 minutes later, I had my Bible out, and I'm like getting all this stuff together for today, and he goes, huh, your TikTok wasn't very appropriate, was it, for what you're talking about? And I said, no. I'm like, our kids are overwhelmed with all this information. He goes, our kids or you? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it was me. I was sitting there laughing at TikToks that I should not have been laughing at. I mean, they were not horrible, but they had bad words in them. Yeah. Or they were making fun of someone or something, and I was sitting there laughing at them.
That's a great example of how desensitized we kind of become. You know,
yes, we're numb, is what Ben said. He said, "You're not. The kids aren't numb. You're numb."
Yeah, every scroll is like we're just so used to the bad words or the stupid jokes or the AI things blowing up grandmas. You know, like we're so
what blown up. I've never seen that.
I'll send you one.
Oh,
but like, it's just like we're so desensitized to it all because. It's part of the world. It's part of the culture. And, you know, part of it is if we're not participating in that, we feel like we miss out, you know, or we feel like, you know, there's just parts of it that we need to get a handle on.
But we should be different. We shouldn't be part of that. Like we should miss out. Yeah. But I don't. I'm like, send me the TikTok. I'll watch it. It's hilarious. And then I'm like, oh. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have a group with a couple guys that are also in ministry, and those are not very good ministry related TikToks that we send to each other. Like there's you know, and I don't think it's good, and sometimes I do get convicted sometimes when I send those. I'm like, this is not, I probably shouldn't have sent that. Or vice versa. They probably shouldn't have sent that to me or whatever. But it just takes work. It's renewing your mind is a daily thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we can get caught up in whatever here, this or that, but it takes work. Following Christ takes work, takes practice. I tell the kids, and I've said this on this podcast a billion times, faith takes practice. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be good at it every day, but we have grace for that. But it's not. We shouldn't just rely on the grace, because faith without works is dead, right? So we should take that grace that we have and live like Christ. Renew our mind daily. Take up our cross daily. Die to ourselves daily. This isn't just like a get baptized today or get saved today and then go do something else tomorrow.
I wrote, following Jesus is an everyday decision. What am I going to do today to show the world Jesus? Mm-hmm. And that's something that after my husband called me out, I was like, that is something I need to refocus on. And then in Philippians, it kind of hurt my feelings too.
What does it say?
Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things.
Yeah.
The opposite of the TikToks I was watching.
Yeah, whatever is these things. And that was the verse of the day yesterday.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I read it yesterday. I don't remember.
Maybe it's the day before yesterday.
Okay.
It was one of the... It was
this week sometime?
Yeah. But yeah, that's where we start. If we don't know where to start, think about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure. Think about those things. That's where you start. Mm-hmm. Renewing your mind. That's where you start. What's true? Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Mm-hmm. What's noble? The things that Christ did. Mm-hmm. Right? Whatever's right. Christ is right. The Christ is right.
Oh, it's a rough one.
Sorry. But yeah, pure and lovely, and then admirable. All of those things, think about those things. That's how you start daily, an everyday decision. Think about those things. Got anything else? Mm-mm. Got a family challenge? Mm-mm. The family challenge is to renew your mind daily. You're going to fail some days. You're going to fail some minutes, but it's a daily grind. Sanctification doesn't happen overnight. Being more like Christ doesn't happen overnight. It's a lifelong process. So that's your challenge, is to be more like Christ by renewing your mind daily. And that's all we got this week. Stay safe if you're listening on Halloween. Stay safe. Trick or treat. Find a way to share Christ's light or love or his gospel today during trick or treating. Find a way. Parents, you guys are going to be walking down the street with your kids. Find some other parents. Tell them where you go to church. Tell them what you do. Tell them you're a Christian.
We'll have our FBC table at the football game tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Come see us.
Yeah, go to the football game tonight. They're doing trick or treating stuff. But we'll talk at y'all later. Peace.